I'm Rodney Zemmel, and I'm the global co-leader of McKinsey Digital. Today I was going to talk about how the digital game is changing, and then 6 questions to ask yourself to help your digital transformation succeed. I'm going to start with a number though, 92%. And this number comes from a survey of business leaders and board members. We asked a simple question: will your business model remain economically viable through digitization? Yes or no? 92% said no. That's a tremendous call to action for digitization. So what does that actually mean? What are the real business objectives that you're going after? And we think the many ways people are approaching digital comes down to 2 broad business objectives. How am I using it? How can I use it to transform my core? Or how am I using it to build new businesses? And those 2 objectives overlap, as you can see in the Venn diagram here. And we like to think of this as the duality of digital. And we think companies that are going to be long-term winners really are able to play along both of these tracks. Underneath that, of course, there are a set of themes. For example, harnessing the power of data and AI, modernizing core technology and capitalizing on new technology, optimizing and automating operations, fueling digital growth, creating captivating digital experiences, and of course building digital talent and culture. But all of those are themes against the 2 broad business objectives of transformation and building new businesses. We believe the opportunity fingerprint is very different by industry, probably of surprise to no one, but as we've looked across the many digital transformations that we've been involved in or that we've seen, and you quantify the impact of digital in different segments, different elements of those transformations, you see some very different patterns across industries. This is just one set of indicative data. This compares process-intensive industries like manufacturing and extractive industry to healthcare, to retailers, to business services. And it looks at digital opportunities from commercial processes to operational processes and back office processes. And what you see is, so commercial processes is where a lot of the sort of first wave of digitization was. It was about customer journeys. It was around delighting your customer with a better digital experience. It was about getting many disparate things in your company joined up and integrated in a digital way. And by the way, the size of the bubble shows the impact, and the color of the bubble shows timing to realize the value. Then, as we see the digital wave continue over the last few years, we've seen as much, or actually in many cases, more value in the operational processes. And then the back office processes are relevant across all industries, but in few cases, maybe in some service industries, are they one of the largest sources of value. How is the world changing since COVID is an incredibly relevant dimension when it comes to digitization, because we do believe the recovery from COVID-19 is digital. And what this shows is the increase in digital adoption across a range of industries in the immediately pre-COVID to the early phases of the COVID period. And we've got a multiplier effect for each industry. And at the low end, it's from 1.2 to 1.3 in terms of how much more people are interacting with digital. To at the high end, it's 2-fold more people are interacting using digital channels rather than traditional channels. And not only that, but first-time users, of which there are obviously many given the multiplier, are on average satisfied or very satisfied, 86% of them in this data set. That may come down over time, but it's sort of staggering that new adopters of anything would be that satisfied. And in addition, we think most of those, again in this analysis 75%, will continue to use digital. So what does this represent? This represents several years of accelerated digital adoption happening in the period of several months. This, of course, is mainly business-to-consumer data, but we're seeing similar effects in the business-to-business world, where, for example, whether people preferred an in-person or a digital customer interaction in B2B has gone from less than 50% to 80% in a very short period of time. So all signs point to adoption. I'm going to show another number here, 16%. Reality is harder than revolution. What is 16%? 16% is the percentage of transformations that fully hit their business objectives and fully succeed. Some candid quotes from business leaders, CEOs, or business unit executives on the impact of digital within their businesses. I can see the impact of digital everywhere, except in my operating profit. Or I've got more pilots than an aircraft carrier. There's a lot of variations on that theme around we've launched a lot of things, but we've not yet actually got a coherent forward motion. Or yeah, I get it, the solution for everything is in the cloud, but I've got to pay for it here on Earth. Or there's a whole lot of complexity to deal with before we can get to the promised land of simplification. Or one of my favorites is, there's a big difference between digital natives who can change the company dress code and what it really takes to change the company culture. So that might be a cynical or maybe a challenging view, but let me tell you, when it works, it's magical.